Welcome back, listeners. I'm Sam,
And I'm Lindsay.
and this is the Back to Backlog podcast.
Welcome, welcome.
Cool.
This week we're going to be talking about recent upcoming releases, upcoming releases that we are excited about. But first we wanted to talk a little bit about the E3 news.
Yeah, because it's hard to talk about things we're excited coming up without saying, where a lot of games normally will announce their updates. E3 2022 has been canceled. This is, the second year in a row?
Third? Did they? Because they canceled it in 2020, 2021 too, right?
Oh, did they? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, everyone's been talking about sort of the, the demise of E3, and maybe that's just going to happen by all these cancellations. It's hard to start up an event again after a few years of not doing one.
I also think a lot of the hype is gone for it too, because especially with like the growth of social media since, in the past, even just 5 years, I think a lot of game companies and developers, especially indie brands, used to really count on the hype of E3 in order to be able to, make announcements. I've obviously never been to the E3, event itself because it's literally on the other side of the country. Yeah. I don't know how it compares to PAX East, where there's a lot of demo tables, there's a lot of little events going on at the game. Some I think sometimes things are released or not released but talked about during PAX. And I think it is a smaller, but even PAX Prime is smaller than E3 used to be. And I think those are probably just easier to maintain, and they don't rely on, just the hype of upcoming games. That's obviously a big part of it, but, they have a lot of other stuff there too, tabletop gaming, Magic tournaments, things like that.
Yeah, of course the big players have really moved to their own showcases now. Nintendo first with the Directs, and then... I think Microsoft has been doing something on their own, although I think they've still been supporting E3 for a lot longer than the other players, and PlayStation with their State of Play, which is their version of a Direct.
Yeah.
So I think the big players have been kind of going off on their own, so that they can set their own time schedules.
And they probably don't have to pay. Well, I mean, obviously they pay for it a certain amount, but I'm sure that they are paying advertising dollars to E3 in order to, be a part of that. And, I think it makes financial sense. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I assume it is, to be a part of it, to have, things set up there.
So yeah, it's crazy, but it's not unexpected, and I don't know. People have been talking about sort of the demise of whether we need E3 or not, and it's going to give us another year of not having it to see, that it doesn't really seem to have an effect on the industry to not do it.
I'm not any less informed about the games coming up than I was when I watched, any more or less informed than when I watched E3 in the past.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so, I don't know,
It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah.
And if next year they terminate it, or, because if they don't do it next year, then I think they either have to make the decision to cancel it permanently or do something else.
Yeah, I feel like if they were to try and make a real go of it, they might have to just, I feel like they'd have to go completely balls to the wall crazy. They'd have to make it the biggest E3 ever to make it worthwhile, right? Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. I don't know if that's a good take or not.
I have no idea. I'm neutral about it. I'm not going to go. If it's available online, I'll probably watch it. But I mean, I think the last E3 that they had, I don't think I watched any of the live streams. I think I watched like secondary coverage on it.
Yeah.
And like playbacks. So we'll see.
So yeah, that's E3. And I wanted to as we do each episode, say, what we've been playing in the time since the last episode. So, what have you been up to?
I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It is so good. I almost wasn't going to buy it because I, just being frugal at the moment.
Yep.
But I'm weak and I have no impulse control. And I'm just like, I'm going to do it. Plus, you got like a really cool butt stallion glider for Fortnite. So that was a bonus. It's so good. It's amazing. For anybody who doesn't know, it's a Borderlands affiliated game made by, the same people that made Borderlands. Tiny Tina's, the whole thing came from a DLC from Borderlands 2, which is really cool because it's the DLC was like a D&D campaign, but it was also how Tina coped with the death of like one of her friends' idol's father figures, Roland. So like she's going through it, and like at the end everybody realizes it's how she's grieving. So it was one of those like serious, like funny games with like a serious moment. Roland does make it like a quick appearance, but this one's a lot more lighthearted, but I really like the nod to it. The classes are really fun. Especially for how much games have been struggling with new releases. Like, what was it? Cyberpunk came out in 2020 and had like, it was basically unplayable. This had some bugs and some issues, but overall it also had a pretty smooth release, which was nice to see. But it's so fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I have been ecstatic because my Steam Deck came in, and I don't remember if it had come in by the time of our previous episode.
I think it had just shipped.
Oh my gosh, it has been a blast. It has been a majorly fun time. I wrapped up the Half-Life 2s. I started playing a little bit of Tunic. That game is hard. It is, Zelda theming on top of your sort of your Dark Souls like dodge roll and stab in the back, and there's like the like bonfires that you can recover your health at, but then it also restores all the enemies. Like actually Dark Souls design in there, and it's also got like this obtuseness to it where it's like the world is just very strange, and like there's no English text. It's all like in-world sort of gibberish writing, at least as far as I can tell. I haven't really looked at it too hard. But like you unlock pieces of like the game manual, and it looks like an old Zelda game manual. And I'm sure they want you to go online and talk to the community, and it's like very Fez in that regard of like very strange and mysterious, and like discovering things that are absolutely obtuse is part of the experience. Which means I haven't gotten very far. It's really cool, but I am getting murdered. It's the most adorable way to die on gaming right now, I think.
Dark Souls, but make it cute.
Oh my gosh. So that was cool. And then the one game I think that I wanted to recommend that I played from start to finish on here in the time was called Say No More. It's this really cool, like, if you like obviously, I know you like the Katamari type humor. It has that, like, block people kind of funniness to it, where you're an intern going to this new company, and everyone's told they have to be yes men, and they have to say yes to everything. And then from the ceiling of your horrible intern desk drops this, like, motivational cassette tape, and you put it on, and it's like this 80s looking motivational wrestler type dude who's like, you've got to say no more. Just go ahead and push the button to say no. Sometimes you've got to give them a cold no. Sometimes you got to give them a hot no. Try laughing at them to weaken their confidence. Like, it's really funny, and it's actually pretty touching. And it's in all the ways that, like, telling people no is actually, helpful to people, and it's really, really cool, but it's wicked funny. It's just bizarre, and everyone walks around with, like, the silliest walks ever. I have to show you footage. It's super funny. But it didn't take too long to play from start to finish. So that was a blast.
That actually reminds me, Sam was kind enough to gift me a copy of Donut County, and I played through that, and it was hilarious. It was
Oh,
very fun.
yes. Donut County's so good.
It's so funny. I love the raccoon, and he's just such a jerk. I love it.
He is. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so I that in the same kind of vein of super fun, doesn't take a ton of time to go through, but I mean, there's still stuff you can go back and like
Oh yeah.
challenges to complete and stuff. So
Yep.
I haven't done that. I just played through the game, but I
Yeah.
did play that
Yes.
one.
Same with Say No More. I actually went back and tried to get the more of the achievements, which if you don't immediately say no to everyone, some people have some hidden things that happen if you just actually hear them out. And I'm like, oh, I should have been more discerning with my first playthrough. I just had fun with the no button.
Ow.
But hey, that's what achievements are for, right? To get you to
Yes.
explore more of the game.
Yep.
Hopefully. Yeah. So that, I guess that leads into our main topic today, our future wish lists, our games we're looking forward to. I think our big rule was basically that it had to be something kind of substantial, like it had to have footage, right?
Mhm.
And it couldn't be coming out very soon, such that it would release before the episode.
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
So, and I guess I'll caveat with that we might, some of these have very little information, so we might be speculating a little bit, but I'm going to try and make sure I delineate between what's actually been shown and what I think it might, entail. But yeah, so I think you have the first pick.
I do. So this one, it's called Palia. It is a casual high fantasy MMO with like simulation, like farming aspects to it. It shares devs from Blizzard, Riot, and Epic, and it's being released. It doesn't have a release date yet. It just is in the very, very, very early stages. I did sign up for the pre-alpha by Singularity 6 Incorporated. So I like MMOs, and this one really looks like kind of like, I mean, the graphics are better than like an Animal Crossing or a Stardew Valley, but it's like really bright and colorful
Yeah, it's
graphics.
gonna be
Like
on the
it's very
cozier.
inviting. Yeah, it's definitely on the cozy side, and I don't know if there's any battle like mechanics or if there's any fighting.
Mm.
But they put a huge emphasis on like the social aspect of the game. I know that there is gardening, mining, fishing, exploration, home decor. Like you're gonna have a home you can decorate and add your invite friends over to. Guilds are called neighborhoods, which is really cute.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't it cute?
I
Yeah.
gotta.
They just last month revealed some of their monetization plan, because that was the big thing,
Mm.
especially with like modern MMOs. You never know, is it going to be a money pit, is it going to be pay to win, how many whales are going to go in there and just swipe until they have everything, which it has been a huge problem. It's why I stopped playing games like ArcAge and Neverwinter, because you just had the people, the credit card warriors who you could just never get ahead, because it was, people are just buying their way through the game.
Yeah.
So the game will be free to play, but they did say that the microtransactions are going to be cosmetics only, which I am fine with. And you can't buy anything that, like, you can't buy with real world money anything that you have to earn in game,
Oh,
and
okay.
vice versa. So I don't think, like, I'm sure you'll be able to unlock some cosmetics in game, but the ones that they sell in the store sound like you're not going to be able to earn them at all, which I'm fine with.
Has there been a lot of gameplay footage or just like a one trailer?
Really, it's basically just the one trailer, and then they released a little bit of like gameplay footage, but it's just like the whoever's controlling the character going through like the main hub. That was released like, I would say like 6 to 9-ish months ago. So this is like very, very early development. It doesn't have a release date. I think it'll probably, whatever they set will be delayed, just because most things have been. And obviously there's a lot that has to go into an MMO, and I don't I would rather have it be delayed than have an issue like New World did, where it was basically an unfinished game
Yeah.
that was released with like not much content, a lot of bugs. Yeah, I would rather wait than to deal with another New World situation. That was like the most disappointing thing of last year for me. But yeah, it looks really cute. And it was actually one of my friends I was playing New World with. We were talking about games, and she had told me about this one, and I had never heard of it before. And I've been following it ever since, and it looks really good. Like I think like if you want an MMO that's like, you know, dungeons and fighting and battles, like I don't think this one's for you, but it does look like a nice, cozy, like fun social MMO. So I'm very excited about that one.
It's pretty sweet.
Hmm.
Cool.
What
Yeah.
is yours?
Yeah, my first pick is like emotionally the complete opposite. It is the most hype thing I can imagine seeing on the radar. Like, I am more excited for this game than I've been excited for a game in a very long time. It is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. It is by Team Reptile, and these guys went straight out the gate knowing exactly how to target the people who are going to play this game. They have made historically the two big games they made were Lethal League and its follow-up Lethal League Blaze, which is like a fighting game where like there's like a baseball like hyperactive like ball in play that can that you can attack with and get hit by. They've through that fighting game, they've honed their ability to mimic the graphical style of the old Jet Set Radio Future game, which you might remember from the favorite games, was one of mine, an old Sega game. And with this new game, Bomber Cyberpunk, they are 100% going after being a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio Future. And it looks like they've borrowed some more of the graffiti system from the original Jet Set Radio, where it was more of a quick time event, but with like thumbstick motions. So like you could learn like swipe this way, this way, this way, this way with the sticks, which is a lot more engaging than like hit A, B, B, Y. But Jet Set Radio Future had just like a trigger pull. Like they simplified it a little bit too much, which it was fine for that game. But I think the combination of this sort of open world, running around, skating, and doing a bunch of graffiti while getting chased by over-the-top ridiculous police force who is firing missiles and using machine guns on you. Like, and they've hit all of the trailers they've done that have, you know, that aren't just like a quiet gameplay thing, have been right out the gate with the bombastic new theme song from Hideki Naganuma, who did, you know, original soundtrack for Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future. The one thing that definitely looks new, obviously, you know, it's a bigger game, and this Team Reptile has done a lot of really interesting character designs that I'm really excited about. And it looks like there's a bunch of different types of skaters this time. So I think the main character they've been showing off has like this robot head thing, and it looks like he's got like skate shoe soaps on, like just shoes that can grind rails and things. But they've definitely showed off somebody who has a skateboard, and they've shown off this girl who has like big poofy hair and rollerblades. So it looks like they're getting all different types of skaters in here, and it's kind of a graffiti focused action game, and I'm so hyped because they've shown off so much footage without really revealing too much either. I guess they've been doing a lot of character like wireframe reveals on their Instagram and things, and they've got a couple trailers, and I think there was one kind of gameplay focused one, and it was just it's so hype. Every time that music from the trailer hits, I'm just like freaking out every time. I'm so hype for this. And I think they've built up to it. Unlike some fan projects that kind of try to right out the gate with no experience game dev try to make a spiritual successor to the Jet Set Radio series. These guys have really, cut their teeth on some smaller games, some different types of games, and I think, I think we're expecting it sometime in 2022, and I'm gonna guess this summer because of how much what they showed off looks and feels kind of complete. And the fact that they've been doing their social media pushes so regularly, um, either they have an amazing social media team who knows how to trickle things out, or they have enough stuff because they're closer to release. So,
Hopefully, it means they're closer to release because I don't think any of the games that I'm thinking of or talking about today are have a. I mean, none of them have like a true release date yet,
yeah,
and like I think most of them are listed in Steam,
yep.
but there's only one that has any like alpha play at all. So it'd be nice if one of these things came out within the next 6 months.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the one that I most believe is going to come out soon, despite them not saying it. The rest of these are either end of the year or extremely vague, and it might even be pushed out to the next year or the year after, which would be fine. I'd rather it release solid, but
Yeah.
I have high hopes for this one, in general, and I think. I don't know. I'm just very excited for it to come out. It's a very hype game, very hype music, and it's ticking all the boxes for being a spiritual successor, without feeling like a weird clone. They're doing their own thing. Um, I don't know. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So I think your next pick has a lot of hype around it generally.
It does, and it was recently delayed, which I'm not surprised about. Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I figured because it didn't have like a name, like a true name yet, that it wasn't going to come out this year. And Nintendo, I think just last week before, they announced it was going to be coming out next year. I think latest next year. I feel like it may be holiday season 2023, if not like early 2024.
Yeah.
But it's this is actually the only AAA title in my list. I thought, well, actually, I don't even know if this is a AAA title. I
Oh, it
thought about,
is. I would
well, no,
consider
this
it.
one. I thought about talking about Ashes of Creation, but I didn't feel like there was enough
Mm,
to go on. I'm not also convinced that it's ever going to be released. So I wanted to pick things that I was confident would actually see the light of day. And this one definitely will. I think it's just going to take Nintendo a while. I loved the first Breath of the Wild game. It was the first game I bought for my Switch. I actually had to play through the bulk of the game twice because my Switch died.
oh no.
I had to send it in for repairs, and it was right before the cloud storage came
Oh,
to
yep.
be, so I
Yep.
lost all of my data. So I had to go through it again, and it was still enjoyable the second time around. It's just such a wonderful open world, game feel to it. I really love what they did with the first game. Some of the mechanics you see for the second game look really interesting. I'm not one of those people that picks apart the lore of like trailers. It drives me crazy when people do that, when they're like speculate like, oh, this little speck on Link's, eye is this, and it's okay, like go off if
Right.
that's what you want to do, but
Right.
like you know
Yeah, clearly the YouTube video with the red circle on
yeah, I mean
Link's new arm.
exactly, like, and I mean, if that's what they're passionate about and want to do, that's fine, but I
Yeah.
don't have the energy to dive in like that.
Yeah.
The gameplay so far has looked good because when they when they announced the delay, there was a little more gameplay. I mean, it definitely has the same kind of like, I don't want to say washed out, but like bright kind of
Yeah.
watercolor almost look that the first game had, which I really liked. I really, really liked the graphics from Breath of the Wild 2. I'm sorry, Breath of the first one, and Joy-Con drift aside, the controls were pretty smooth.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping all of that translates into the second one whenever we get it.
Yeah, it looked like they had some, at least from what I remember of the teaser, they had some more like some floating islands.
Yeah, it looks like there's gonna be, because they mentioned that like you'll be on the ground and in the air. So I'm sure that
Hmm.
the islands in the air are probably something I mean, they're definitely something new. They didn't really explain how you would get there or how they were incorporated into the game. But I assume it's going to be like an integral part of the story.
Yeah, yeah, it should be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And
Nice.
that brings us to your next pick.
Sure. So yeah, it's funny I mentioned Dark Soulsian design earlier with Tunic. My next pick is Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, did you play the original Hollow Knight?
I have it installed on my computer. When we
Okay.
first started brainstorming this podcast, I was like, if we're going to be talking about indie games, I should play Hollow Knight. I own it.
Mm,
And it has sat just installed on my computer. So
yeah.
I have not.
It is a game that initially kicked my ass quite a bit, but then I did beat it. I think I got like 140%. It's one of those where like beating it is only, maybe halfway to what's possible to do in the game. And then
Yeah.
I did a bunch of post game, some bosses I'd missed and content, which was wonderful. Not everything, not everything. I don't think I'll ever get everything because at some point I just started feeling carpal tunnel in my wrists. Some,
Yeah.
especially 2D platformers, some games just do that. Just are a little too physically strenuous for me nowadays. But yeah, so Hollow Knight Silksong is a game by Team Cherry, and they announced it in 2019 after many years of expanding and expanding and expanding the original Hollow Knight. There was like 3 or 4 different expansions. It's a much bigger game than it started out as, and I don't think they've ever said a date. My guess is anywhere from 2022 to 2024. They've shown footage off, and it looks amazing, and the stuff they showed off seems very complete. That does not mean that the rest of the game is, but it
Yeah.
looked amazing from what I saw, and it looks like,
I love the Hollow Knight style.
oh, it's gorgeous. And
It is. It's really
that much,
eye-catching.
yeah, and that much art takes a long time to draw just
Mhm.
alone, so I totally understand. But yeah, the sequel here, you play as Princess Hornet, who was sort of a rival, sort of a protector of the realm in the original game that you had to fight a few times, and kind of like a Knuckles the Echidna role, where she's fighting you because she's protecting the land, sort of thing. But you play as her, and she's kidnapped and taken to this new realm called like Farloom, and it looks gorgeous. I don't know. Beautiful game. It's going to be tough as nails. Get your platforming skills ready for it. But yeah, Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm very excited because of how much I loved the original game.
It's one I keep meaning to play, and I'm one of those people that either loves or hates a platformer. Like if it doesn't catch me in the first 10 minutes I play it, I will never pick it up again.
Okay.
Because they don't catch me, but this one also has I hear a good story attached to it, so I'm more inclined to play something like that.
Yeah, it's so the original Hollow Knight, at least, and I'm sure that Silksong will follow in its lead. Had a lot of environmental storytelling, had a lot of mysterious stuff going on, a lot of just the small areas and back alleys you discover kind of fill in the story of the world for you, and it'll be something that you'll get so far with just the secrets, and then you'll go, okay, I need to know more, and like, what has the community found out about this? Oh my god, that's so incredible and deep and interesting. There's a lot to it, and it's not. It's very obtuse and mysterious. And it is a rogue. It's not a roguelike. It is a Metroid. It's the other indie genre. It's a Metroidvania. So you'll be darting back and forth across the map to unlock new areas all over as you get new abilities, but also just kind of learn more. And there's a point halfway through the story where the starting area changes so that it's a little bit harder, so that you don't feel like crossing the world is a pushover. Once you get good. So yeah, it's incredible. But
nice.
Yeah,
so my next pick is called Cult of the Lamb.
Nice.
It looks like Diablo meets Animal Crossing. Like all of the characters are like really cute and cartoony, but it's also like very dark. So it's a roguelike action. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be released sometime this year, and it's by Massive Monster. There isn't a ton of like there's some trailers and some gameplay footage, but there isn't a ton out that I could find. It is a roguelike action adventure game with some dungeon crawling aspects. You play as a lamb who's about to be sacrificed but gets possessed. And so after the lamb is possessed, he starts recruiting other animals to his cult to save the world, essentially, is what I gathered from it.
Hmm.
Um, it looks really cute.
Yeah,
Like,
these screenshots really give me like don't
yeah,
starve vibes, art
yeah,
wise.
yeah. It's. I think it's a little more rounded than that, but yeah, it's got that same like dark vibe. And by round, I mean like the characters are round.
Yeah. I just meant like the 2D dolls in like an isometric 3D world kind of
Yeah,
look. Yeah.
yeah. I think it looks like a lot of fun. And I love. I always joke with um like friends that I'm going to start a cult. So this one is like part of that joke, I guess. It's because we actually are when we made they weren't called guilds. I forget what they were called in our gauge. Like it was like the cult because we all like whenever we were playing together wore the same like weird outfit. And like we would just do stuff like various games where we were just like dressed the same and acting weird. So I think this falls into that interest of mine,
That's
and
awesome.
it just looks like a lot of fun. Because I guess you do get to like perform some of like the acts of running a cult. Like I guess you have like little like rituals to like strengthen your faction. I guess you could call it. So it looks really, really fun. And just, I mean, I think it's a really unique idea. This cute little lamb becoming a cult leader and actually running a cult. And I mean, like, you don't know the motivations of whatever it is that possessed the lamb. And that did seem to be an emphasis that, like, that could come back to bite the lamb.
Okay.
So, like, I think there'll probably be a twist. I don't know if it will be delayed or not.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it comes out this year because I really, really want to play it.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, my next pick also should hopefully come out this year. They've said December or Christmas timeframe at least. And I kind of believe them on that time frame because I think that this game has well, I think this game has been delayed already. But it's Sonic Frontiers by Sega and Sonic Team, of course. And it is a strange one. From what we've seen in the trailer, it's like, and I think that somebody said from the marketing team said it was an open zone Sonic game, right? Uh, Open world. Honestly, it looks like an Unreal Engine 4, like they should hire this man demo. It looks like Breath of the Wild or Shadow of the Colossus, but then they just plopped Sonic there, and I don't know if he feels like he belongs in the environment we've seen him in. It's still very early days. I think they're keeping most of what this game is pretty close to the cards. My wild speculation is that the like digital explosions we've seen suggest that like I don't know, maybe Sonic's trapped in like a virtual world and he's trying to get out. I don't know. That's just my guess. It could be absolutely none of that. It I don't know. It just looks really weird, and I'm kind of down for a throw spaghetti at the wall Sonic game again because I've got a few cool solid ones that I'm gonna replay a million times over. Right? I got my Sonic Mania, I got my Adventure 2 and Unleashed and Generations. Like, Forces was close with the character creation. That was an amazing idea. But I'm ready for something that's just completely unexpected, completely weird. The world kind of reminds me when I saw the trailers for Sonic 2006, and we were like, wow, look at those realistic trees, man. And while that game is an absolute nightmare, I really, I did play through it all because I'm going to do so with Sonic games. So, I really don't know what to expect, and I'm at the point where like I'm just morbidly curious, or just weirdly curious, like, what even is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad in an interesting way? Like, it's gonna be different and very different, and that's kind of exciting on its own.
I like to see classic franchises doing things that are completely unexpected, and I think especially with the success of like Pokemon Legends,
Mm.
I think I can't think of any other examples. I'm sure there are other examples though of like taking a different approach to what people expect. People are open to it, especially if the engine is good, the design is good, the game elements are good. I think people are up to try new things. I mean, I think people are tired of you know franchise after franchise making the exact same game over and over again. So
Yeah,
I hope it's different. I've never played a Sonic game, but I really like to see
yeah,
when developers take those risks, and even more so when it pays off, because I
sure.
think people are really interested in you know the characters that they love in very very different game forms.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a weird one. I'm happily apprehensive and I'm excited. So, oh, anyway, let's get into your next pick.
So this one I found out about a while ago, and it's been in development for a while. It's called Mineko's Night Market, and it's by Meowza Games. It's expected to be out this year. It was announced a while ago, so I think that it probably will be out sometime this year, but there's no like time frame. Um, it's a RPG narrative and story driven game where you there's farming aspects, but it's not heavy on that. There's a lot of crafting. Essentially, you make friends with your neighbors and to sell items in your market. Essentially,
Okay.
um, and I mean it's very cute. It's very bright. Well, I don't want to say it's bright because it takes place at night, but like it's very warm
Okay.
despite being like a night market. Like it looks really fun, and like cats are a big part of the game. I guess like you farm the cats, and the items that you get from the cats are like main crafting components. So I mean, I'm a sucker for cats, so it just looks really fun, really cozy. I don't 100% know what to expect of it because a lot of the game footage that I saw was just like the character you control, running around, hanging out with neighbors and stuff, and pulling cats out of the ground. So I'm not 100% sure what to expect of it, but I'm excited for it nonetheless.
Yeah.
I hope, because I don't know where it is in the development. I couldn't find that information. It might be out there, but I'm hoping because it was announced so long ago that it's coming out like soon.
Gotcha. Yeah, I should have guessed that it was cat themed by the developer.
Meowza Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a theme necessarily, but it's like a component.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks really cute. I hate to compare it to like Animal Crossing again, but I guess like because I watched an interview with the developers, and they said it's like it's not going to be like um I just the name of the game just flew out of my head.
Oh, goodness.
But it's gonna be like the social aspect of Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon, where you're really like getting to know your neighbors, and like that kind of social aspect.
Okay.
And the more you get to know the people around you, like the more they'll do for you essentially. So it's cozy in that aspect, not so much like farming heavy it sound or anything like that.
Okay.
um,
Okay. Yeah, like a social sim.
yeah, I think so. I think that's the vibe I get from it. um so I don't 100% know what it's going to look like, but it looks really really fun and adorable, and I will definitely be picking that up as soon as it has a release date.
Nice. Cute.
And I don't think it will be. I hope it's not going to be delayed. I don't think it will be.
Mm.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, so yeah, my next game is gonna be a well, it's Star Trek Resurgence. It was like just announced, but they said that it's gonna come out this year. I'm pretty sure it was just announced, like maybe a month or two ago, and yeah, it's gonna come out this year. So I don't know if it's going to be episodic. I don't think so. None of the marketing has said as much. It might just be a smaller game that they might be testing the waters to see how it goes. But it's by Dramatic Labs, which I looked at it, and it's just a whole bunch of staff of people who used to work at Telltale. So, and it's going to be a very similar game to sort of the later Telltale games. An adventure game with lots of decisions to be made. It looks like they're punctuating some moments with some action set pieces where, like, you've got like your phaser and you're defending some stuff like on the hull of the ship. So it looks like it's going to balance some small bits of action with some adventure game stuff, which kind of reminds me of there was an old Star Trek game that came out years ago after Insurrection that was like a top-down adventure game with some bits of action. It kind of gives me that vibes, but like more modern. And lore-wise, it takes place sort of after the Next Generation films, like 2 years after Voyager comes home, sort of thing, 2380.
Okay.
So it's like that just after the Golden Age stuff, where there's still some unknowns to go, where like Star Trek Lower Decks takes place, sort of time frame, I guess. But I don't know. It looks really solid. It looks like they got the look and feel of Star Trek down. It looks like there's going to be a lot of diplomacy and ship stuff and phasers, and
Sounds like Star Trek to me.
yeah. So I'm really excited that we're going to get some new stories in that time period of Star Trek.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love the idea of like a Star Trek, like Telltale type game.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had I don't know. It's been a feast for Star Trek fans lately. We've got like 5 shows and a bunch of games and stuff. But most of it's been mobile games, so it'll be nice to get an adventure game for sure.
Yeah. No, I hadn't heard of it before this, but yeah, I would definitely be interested in looking into it more. I love Star Trek. I've been watching it forever.
Nice.
Same. And that era is my favorite, like the Voyager DS9.
Yep.
Kind of era.
Yep.
DS9 I think is my favorite series.
Yeah, it is for a lot of people. I think.
Yeah.
I only recently watched DS9. I really, really enjoyed it. I think, despite its flaws, Voyager might still be my favorite for many reasons. But
it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, they're all solid picks.
Yes. So my last pick is called Bear and Breakfast. And this one actually is in alpha, I think. It's either alpha or pre. Like, people have seen, like, I've seen gameplay footage of it because people have played it and made videos about it. And you are supposed to come out this year at some point. It's by Armor Games. It definitely looks like an Armor Games game. It has that like really nice, solid cartoon feel to it, but it's still very polished. You're a bear. You are running a bed and breakfast in the woods, which you furnish and maintain. So it's got crafting and RPG elements. I'm hoping because it's already in alpha, it's not going to be delayed. I hope that means that it's on the horizon, because the gameplay looks really like, it just looks like the character dialogue I've seen looks really funny. You're not supposed to question why the bear is talking or running a bed and breakfast in the woods, or how,
oh my gosh. I'm going to have to send this to at least a couple people I know.
It looks so good. I found out about it a couple of months ago. I was just looking at upcoming games, and this popped up for, things that people were excited about. And after watching the gameplay footage, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Even the alpha looks polished. Like, it looks like it's a finished game. So I'm hoping it's almost ready for release.
Oh, that's super cool looking. I'm digging that art style.
I love it.
All right. My last game is SteamWorld Headhunter. I'm a fan of the SteamWorld series. They've done a bunch of games in different genres, and like they did a couple SteamWorld Digs. There's been I think there was a card game recently. There was a strategy shooter, SteamWorld Heist, which was wicked good. That's probably my favorite so far. And this one looks like it's going. So, well, traditionally they've been 2D games that are very steampunky. Takes place in this like post apocalyptic world where it's all just robots and like the planet's been blown up and stuff. It looks like this is going to be in 3D. So Image and Form are going out of their comfort zone and going into a 3D game, it seems, which means that, I'm guessing not this year. I'm guessing maybe next year, because it'll take them a lot longer to do a 3D game. Being, wizards at their gorgeous 2D art style, it takes some time to adjust and just to build those worlds. So it looks like it's a co-op third-person shooter, and the trailer had one of two sort of Wild West robots going off in a high noon standoff, and one of them shoots the other, and he goes and takes a look, and that robot's head is gone, and he turns around and that head is like crawling on its own legs, and it jumps at him, and I'm like, what? So maybe losing your head is going to be part of the gameplay, which sounds really interesting. So a little pun off of Headhunter, it seems. So I'm excited for that. I always like a good SteamWorld game.
Yeah, I've seen them around. I have never played one. It's, but I've definitely I've seen other people play them, and they seem solid.
Yeah,
so.
They're pretty good games.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think that's all of our games that were on our upcoming wish lists. A lot of cool stuff. Stuff from your list I'm going to be checking out for sure.
From yours I'm going to check out too. It's interesting because I'm not really excited for any huge AAA titles coming up.
Yeah.
The future, the only one is Legend of Zelda. Like I said, I don't know if I don't think Ashes of Creation would be considered AAA, but there's definitely a lot of hype around it. But I think that a lot of the smaller titles they're just so much more unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus looking forward to another Call of Duty game or another Assassin's Creed game that's exactly the same as all the others. So I can't think of a single, and normally there's at least a couple that I'm looking forward to. But when I was putting this list together, I couldn't think of any.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I just think, people have been holed up in their apartments for a couple years, and that is a breeding ground for good indie games. And the dev tools have been so much better than they used to be. So it's a lot easier to make a game. Not easy, but easier. So I think we're just we might be having a golden age of indie games coming up this and next year for sure, if we're not already in it,
Yeah, I hope so, because I think the major markets are so stale right now.
Yeah.
That, I mean, even the big games like Cyberpunk and what was the other one that was released last year? Outer Worlds. Actually, Outer Worlds did look interesting. I just didn't have anything that could run it at the time. I do now, but haven't played it. But
yeah,
with stuff like that aside, but even then, a lot of the bigger companies have had such problems either getting games out that run well, and I think some of that is probably just the higher ups being like, get it out.
Yeah, well, and part of that is also everyone was gearing up to release their new games on the next generation, and then because
nobody can buy them,
right, because of global part shortages, they can't make enough of them, so they can't tell their audience to go buy the next generation, so they have to make all these games that were not optimized for last gen to go and work on last gen.
I bought a new PC last year, and I bought it spring of 2021, and I looked for at least 6 months
for a graphics
to try
card?
to find something with that either wasn't super overpriced or that I feel like wasn't a ripoff, or because I wasn't going to buy one from a reseller or anything like that. So I was stalking my local computer store. I ended up buying a computer from iBuyPower, and that worked out really well. The price was good.
But I think despite all these, maybe even because of the delays, I'm more excited for a lot of these games because they've had more time in the oven. And,
exactly.
And so I think I'm very excited for all the games coming up. But yeah.
In the credits of Tiny Tina's, it mentions that most of the game was made at home during lockdown.
Yep. So yeah, that leads us to our what are we playing in the interim until next episode, and I think you've already answered.
Yeah, I think I already got to max level, so now I'm just doing the chaos dungeons. I'm finishing up any side quests, so I'll probably be doing that. And then I got it when it released week before, something like that, Rune Factory 5. I've never played a Rune Factory game before. They've been on my list to play for a long time.
Oh.
So I bought it. I pre-ordered it and honestly forgot about it. Like I pre-ordered it months and months ago, and then I just got the shipping notification. I was like, well, I guess I'm getting that. I forgot about it. So I'm gonna give that a go, I think, too.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be continuing to dive into games I have been sort of putting off until I got my Steam Deck. I started Dead Space. I'm really enjoying it. So
That's a good one.
I'm
That's a good game.
I'm gonna try and play through more of that if I can't get to the end of it. And then for some more chill gameplay time, I think I might pick up Grapple Dog. Or I have Grapple Dog and I started playing it, but I haven't really delved into it. So it's a really, really cute 2D platformer that has like a grapple hook and your dog.
What's the experience of Dead Space on a handheld? Because my favorite thing about games like that is I don't like games like that. Like I played Dead Space for whatever PlayStation it came out for at the time.
3.
I don't remember. 3, yeah. Was it 3?
Yep.
So I played it on Xbox 360 then.
Yeah.
I played it before. I don't remember what system.
Yeah.
And my favorite way to play horror games is on PC with like headphones.
Yeah. I definitely I did play it out and about, like when I was at the mechanics and things, and I had to turn on subtitles. And I do feel like headphones, I mean, the Steam Deck has incredibly powerful, like way too powerful speakers. So like if I was at home and I just had the volume up, I think I'd be fine. But I think I should probably carry headphones with me when I'm out and about. I will say though, it might not be an on-the-go game just because, man, it did get stressful and I had to like switch to another game.
Very stressful.
I had to switch to another game.
It's supposed to be though.
And I like it. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be like playing it at the park and like freaking out. And, you know what I mean? Like I might be curling up on the couch here and playing it. More than likely. It is really nice to have the back grip buttons, kind of like the back paddles on like a Xbox Elite, that you can assign to anything. It has been nice to be able to assign those grip buttons to different things.
Okay.
So like I don't have to hold the shoulder I can hold the grip to run or something. But yeah, it's been fun exploring that because it's an old game that I've been recommended a million times and I never got around to. So it's been cool to finally play it.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, listeners. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you discovered some new things to put on your wish list, too.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time.